I've just spoken about the text in Romans that speaks about the power of God unto salvation. And Paul's words that precede that is that he says, I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it's the power of God unto salvation. And so we have come up with just having a conference at the beginning of this year. And it's going to start in February. It's going to be a PSALMODY conference. It's going to be not too dissimilar to what we had last year, where we had PSALMODY sessions. The difference being is that we're actually going to incorporate other dynamics that need to be perhaps just helped. And so one of the objectives that we have as elders in the life of the church is to make sure that we equip you. You know, one of the things, I'm holding my Bible, a hardcover. As many of us who have digital versions of this, we do need to have a hardcover. And it begins by simply describing the creation, and everything that God did was good. And so he did something that was good, and good simply means fit for purpose. And then we come into the New Testament and you hear about equipping the saints and making them fit for purpose. And so as far as God's concerned, the church is good. And so much around about us is not compatible with Scripture. The various philosophies that we're hearing are, if anything, anti what it is in the Bible. And so what we wanted to do is just to equip you. But one of the things that I feel is happening in the church is that there's a new renaissance. Renaissance means new birth. And so if anything, the way that we've robed our presentation of the gospel is going to change. And fortunately, we have the space to do that. We've got the gifting and the talents in the life of the church to be able to do that. And so that's what this particular PSALMODY conference is going to emphasize. And so we're going to start off by just having these pop-up sessions. And the pop-up sessions are going to be given by people who you will meet as the weeks unfold towards the PSALMODY conference. And they are experts in their field. And the nice thing is that they're actually part of this congregation. There's perhaps one other individual that I've invited to come and do a pop-up session on dreams. So those of you who kind of feel that, gee, wow, you'd love to be able to be someone who's an interpreter of dreams, well, that's a good one for you to come to as a pop-up session, just standalone on its own. But let me go through some of the things. There's exploring the idea of storytelling. Now, I do believe that locked up in this congregation are many books. How about a blockbuster being in your heart? Well, how are you going to know that unless you start out and release that gift to write, to release that gift to film? And so we've got experts who are going to be able to come along and help us in that. And it's really just equipping, in a sense, with a big difference. And then what about this? What about art and faith and the culture of Christ that we want to be able to bring through just with the art representation and expression that we can give to the world? What about this? Social justice. You know, social justice. That's not socialism, incidentally. When you read through how generous the church was in the book of Acts, let's remember it was the gift of generosity. It wasn't that they were embracing a Marxist, Leninist socialism. It was a generosity spirit. What about this? We're thinking of songwriting. Those of you who have songs in your heart, we'll give you space. There'll be a pop-up session that Paul Edie's going to be doing. Social media and how to use it. Why not? This is the day and age that we're living in, where social media is prevalent. Well, how about using it in a way that really is glorifying to God? And then, of course, we even have business as well. And so these are all, if anything, expressions of our worship. And so why we've called it the PSALMODY Conference is that we're cradling all of this in the understanding that everything begins with worship. Everything begins with the reality of our relationship with God. And where do we get that from? It's intimacy. It's drawing close to Him. And so we have Tom Ingalls that is coming out again, and he's going to be sharing the bulk of the sessions, but we're going to have these pop-ups where you can be equipped in a field of your choice. And so I'm encouraging you, come out to this. And also, every week from now on until then, you are going to meet one of the people that is going to be presenting in a pop-up session. So sign up. We'd love to see you there.